This is partners in the process, 'cause we're built better together.
So today we have got Porter Zitting with Zitting Detailing with us. Porter, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate
Thanks
you
for
having
having
me
me.
on. Absolutely.
I appreciate
We've got a little bit of history with you. Kind of met you probably December of last year.
Yep.
And I've known you through some mutual friends, car clubs, things like that. You're doing some big things in the detail industry,
Trying
aren't you?
to.
Yeah?
So, yeah.
Where are you located out of?
We're in St. Charles, Missouri, so we're right off Highway 94.
Okay.
Over there, so.
Okay.
Yep.
I know we have some mutual friends, like I said, in the car club, that they were using you to get their cars and stuff detailed. Kind of put you on my radar, and was talking to them about what they thought about your service, and they had nothing but good things to talk about. And they were sending me pictures, and I was watching some of what you were doing. I was creeping on you on Facebook, kind of seeing what you were up to. And I think it's important for people to understand the person behind the product.
Yeah.
So, not only what you're putting out, what you're doing, but what you stand for, what level of service that you kind of require out of yourself for everybody, so that they understand when you tell them what you're giving them, what they're getting.
Yep.
So why don't you give us a little bit of background about exactly what your mission is with Zitting Detailing and what you're trying to grow this into?
Yeah, so I'm still young. I'm 21. Turning 22 in May. So right now we're just detail shop. It's my first shop we got about 6 months ago. So we do anything detailing, paint correcting, ceramic coating, really anything of that nature. Branching into PPF, wrap, tint, all those sectors too. So I really got a long way to go. I know I'm only at the tip of the iceberg, so we got a long way to go, and I'm just trying to go where God leads me. So I'm a big man of faith, so wherever He is going to lead me to, I'm going to work and make sure I put the effort in to get there. So
I do think that's a very important thing to talk about.
Definitely.
It's something that we hold dear ourselves, and it's kind of funny. She picked up on it, and I didn't pick up on it
I
for a
did.
while. But she had picked up on it, and I said something to you one day. We were talking about a Sunday, I think it was, and you said, "Well, Sunday is church, and I got some other things I'm taking care of." And I said, "Well, hold on a second. Are you a strong man of faith?" And you said, "Absolutely. You stand behind that with absolute conviction. That is who you stand for. That's who you are. It's part of your identity." And I think that's really awesome, especially at 21. So, I mean, that probably says a lot about your family and how you were raised. And
yeah, that was a big thing for me. Is like this is why I am where I am. Is like I went through and did the dumb stuff in high school and a little bit in college, and I just got to a low point, realized I had to actually show up for myself, and it was like when I was at that bottom point, God was the only one that was there, and so just picking me up from there, and He kind of gave me direction, and I realized I have to actually work for this, show up for myself, and be disciplined, and so He's really led me to this, and led me to starting the detail shop and the company and everything, and so it makes it easy for me to wake up every morning and get to work because I know it's where He wants me. So
that's awesome. So that's just your compass. That's your.
Yep.
What is it about detailing that got you amped up to kind of want to start your own business in that field?
Yeah, so I've always liked cars. I've been going to car shows since I was a little kid, so trucks and cars, really. I like both the scenes. I worked at car washes since I was 15, Waterway Car Wash here in St. Louis, so worked at a few different locations there. And obviously doing the same thing every day, I felt I got bored like doing the same stuff, so they had me doing a little more detailing stuff, and then eventually I was like, I need to be making more money, so started doing it a little bit on the side, just like a car or two a week, doing detailing on the side, friends and family's cars, and then just started posting it, and eventually got to the point where I had to quit at Waterway, so I was getting too busy to stay there 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, so quit that, and I was only doing 3 or 4 cars a week, so on those slow days, I'd go out, network, go to little small businesses around St. Louis, just introduce myself, tell them who I was and what I wanted to do and all this stuff, and just meet people, because I know your network's the biggest thing. So.
Did you find it hard with your age for people to take you seriously?
Oh, definitely, yeah,
Really?
and they still do. I'm 21. I look 16, so I get a lot of stuff for that. People doubt, but my work can prove that that's not true. So
Yeah, you're working your client base.
Yeah,
And it
because definitely some high-end cars and beautiful, beautiful cars. But I mean, you've done such an incredible job with them. Because Bobby and I was able to go. I went to your place one time to see some of what you had done, and I mean, it was amazing.
yeah,
Very beautiful.
I appreciate that. Yeah, yeah, and that helps a lot. Is having I got my foot in the door with some supercar owners and kind of that high caliber cars, so that helps a ton.
When those guys are
just
very
with my image.
particular.
Yeah,
So I
for
mean,
sure.
that's a make or break when you start to dip into that. You'd be surprised at how many. I've talked to guys before, and they're like, I got it back from detail, and it had all these little swirls and just real fine, because the lighting and stuff. And I noticed that in your shop, you have that lighting that you're doing the work under, because it's the best lighting you can possibly have, to where if somebody replicated that at their house in their own garage, they would see the same product that you see. So any blemishes or flaws or anything that you're looking at, they're going to see. Whether they have them or not, you just replicate best case scenario at your place. So under best case scenario at theirs, they're going to see
exactly, and it forces you to have almost perfect work. So it's like if I see anything wrong under our lights, then I gotta fix it, and it makes me certain that they will never see anything wrong with it. So,
Yeah.
Yep, like you're exactly right there.
So why don't you talk to us about some of the work that you've done with some of the types of cars that you've worked on?
So I started. I was doing a lot of just normal cars for a long time there when I was part-time. And then when I was full-time, I knew I had to pick up the pace and kind of fill out my schedule more. So I had one of my buddies reach out to me who knew Nor, which and so he has a couple Lamborghinis, some Huracans, and a bunch more cars. But so I reached out to him, basically told him, hey, I'll do the one Huracan for free. Let me know how you like it, and if you like it, we can work something out.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that one, went to his house and did it, and he loved it. And so ever since then, he started sending me his other cars, which he has tons of cars. I don't know if you know, he does the Turo business and all that
and
stuff,
so he's got Turo, and they sell and buy and sell, so they're constantly turning cars in and out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So got my foot in the door with him, and that really opened the door to kind of the higher end cars. He's friends with people like you that have McLarens, Lambos, all this type of stuff. So that really was the big part of it, and they just started coming on in. All his friends have those supercars too. So, and then another one of my big clients, Tyler, he moved from Cleveland to here a little over a year ago. And so he reached out to me, said, hey, I heard you're the man for detailing these nice cars. So I got him in, and he's been one of the best clients. So he has the Pagani. He's got the Pagani Huayra, for those of you that don't know it. He's got a Ferrari SF90, a bunch of other sweet cars, but he has tons of supercars and even that hypercar. So we do a lot of just maintenance on those high-end ones. A lot of them are PPF'd and ceramic coated already, so we'll just maintain them. Makes it super easy on our side. But for those cars that aren't PPF'd or protected already, we'll get them all taken care of, do that all in shop, make sure they're perfect for them, and it just makes it easy to maintain and protect them. So
yeah, and those people, that's not their dailies, so they got dailies too. So then you end up, we talked about a client recently that he's got like 3 or 4 other cars other than a supercar, and so then you get all those cars too if you really do a good job. So it opens up the door to a lot of other business. And so when you're in a service-based industry like yours, and you hang your hat on that service, that level of product that you're putting out, it means a lot. It goes to show, putting in that time, what it actually can achieve.
And product is everything. If I could do all the cool cars, but if my results aren't good, it's not going to mean anything. So
right.
They won't come back.
You knew too, like putting it out there, I'm going to do it for free the first time, and I'm going to keep you coming back. So that was.
You understood the value in that.
Absolutely.
Trust in my own work enough to put it out there.
Right.
So put it on the line.
So why don't you explain to us too a little bit about, because I'm sure you follow a lot of other detail people, and you have for a long time, and there has to be some particulars about the way that you do your service that you kind of stand out amongst the rest. And what would you say would really be your niche that you really hone in on that makes you just a little bit better than the other guy?
Yeah, so I think what I have to my advantage is I'm younger. So really in St. Louis especially, the only other young detail shop owner is probably upper 20s, like 28, 29. And so I'm really the youngest by a long mile. So I have that to help me. So some of my marketing and networking and stuff, I can reach out on some of the younger, like social platforms, social media. I've been crushing it on those. So things like Snapchat, Instagram, I really dominate those fields and have the younger generation like all coming to me.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing that's helped me a ton, keep me busy and everything. And another thing is kind of the community. So I've been in the car community, like I said, going to car and truck shows since I was a little kid. So being able to go to those and advertise and know everybody is like a huge thing. And we even have car shows and events at our shop. So we have one coming up
You got one
April
coming up, don't
6th.
you?
Yep.
Yeah, April 6th.
So we'll be having a car and truck show at our shop April
Not
6th.
noon at midnight this time though, right?
No, no.
Okay.
Yeah, we did.
I
we
missed
did-
that the last time. I was
Yeah,
like,
that one.
I was geared up to go, and I'm like,
Yeah.
wait a second. I sent it to one of my buddies. I was trying to rally the troops, and they're like, dude, that's AM. And I'm like, whoa. I don't know if I can do that.
Got a little out of hand. So yeah, we had a New Year's car show and got a little rowdy because it's at night, and so we can only do daytime ones now. Let's
Okay.
just put it that way. but we yeah,
You got
so,
slapped.
Yeah, got a little wrist slap there. But, well, we're having one April 6th, so that'll be noon to 3 at the shop. So kind of our spring car show, just open up car season a little bit, and so having tons of people come out to those, they can kind of see the shop, see where we work, how we work, and all that stuff, and see our clientele, obviously.
Yeah.
And that really attracts a lot of people. So having a community like that, it kind of makes it more than just like, hey, we're cleaning your car. It's like, this is my friend, and
Yeah.
like he wants our community and our city to kind of be circled around this car community. So
Well,
that
in your
helps it
service,
fun.
in your business itself, is creating a community.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just talk about the exotic cars and stuff, and then you start to talk about how you get to know those people on a personal basis, like you and I have got to know each other, and then you've got to know some of the other clients like Tyler, and there's various other ones, even Nor and all those guys. But you create a culture of not only will I take care of you, I know you're going to take care of me, you're going to recommend people to me, but also it's bigger than just the service I'm putting out.
Yeah,
and I think that there's power in that people don't understand, that it's not just business for the service or the product that I'm selling, but it's this culture and this whole thing that I am creating, that I'm attracting people in. Like, why do people want my service so bad? They see me doing these cars, but why does this kid with a Mustang want to bring me his Mustang when he sees me doing this Pagani Hyra? Well, because he knows if I'm going to be trusted to take care of that car, I'm going to take care of his. And if he wants to make sure he's spending his money wisely, you know, and not to mention you show up and there's other cool cars there.
Yep.
And so it's just, and then everybody hangs out and you have car shows and different stuff like that. You're inviting people in to see what you do and what you're all about. And now you're starting to invite employees. So let's get into the business side of how you're going to go from being the guy who's doing the detailing to scaling this to an actual business.
Yep.
So, and at your age, at 21 years old, I mean, holy smokes. So, so we started out at our house. You said you had a mobile unit to begin with, correct?
Yep. So yeah, we started mobile. That's just the easiest way to get in your door for detailing. So it's a lot cheaper, no overhead. Kind of just load up in the back of my truck bed and go take care of people. So that's how I started. And then I started kind of branching into more of the paint correction, buffing, polishing, and ceramic coating side of things. So that stuff, you almost need an environment, like a climate controlled environment, like a shop, to really perfect it and hone it down. So moved into the shop about 6 months ago, and we've been super busy and blessed. So I recently brought on my first employee, which is exciting. Started about 2 weeks ago. So he's going to be doing more of the hands-on stuff, and he's a paint correction expert. So he can kind of take care of those, keep him busy during the week, and I'll fill in the gaps where I need to on hands-on, but I'll also have my time to do some of the networking and office work and the business side of things. So that's going to be a huge blessing and help me kind of expand even more. So that's been huge.
So like in January, we got together, reached out to you, and you said you were ready to level up. You're like, I want to take this thing to the next level. You kind of showed me what you had been doing in years prior, but you didn't have any organization or systems or anything in place. You were just doing the work. And you were really good at doing the work. But you're like, I don't understand like how to organize all this the way it needs to be organized so that I can scale it, so I can replicate it and then I can scale it. So I said, we're going to come in and we're going to help you out. We're going to do this, right? So you brought us in, and I noticed from the get-go, the one thing that I noticed was if you went into the shop, everything out there was organized. You know, you've got shelves, you've got all your product organized, you've got all your pads, your tools, all of it was organized. But if I went into your office, it was not. There's stuff everywhere. Which told me a lot right off the beginning. Like, if I prioritize what's important to him, he knows getting work done, that's what's making him the money out there. But he doesn't understand, in order to scale, this has got to be as organized in here and look as nice and put together and run as efficiently as that does out there.
Yeah, that's funny you say that. I didn't even think about how messy it is in there. It always is.
Yeah,
So,
but out in your shop's not. The
Yeah.
floors are white, everything's clean, shining, because you're doing paint corrections and details out there, so everything's always clean.
That's funny.
Yeah. So I
And
got
that's
with
where
you.
you shine. So
Yeah.
you can tell that's where you shine, and that's what you
Yep,
know.
which
so,
is
yes.
good.
It absolutely
Perfectly
is.
fine.
You lean
Uh-huh.
into those things
Uh-huh.
because that's where you started. So
Yeah.
that's what you're like, listen, this is what got me to where I'm at today. It's also what's going to get me to the next level as I learn and grow
Yeah.
about the other aspects of this that I need to know.
Yep.
So right away, I'm like, okay, well, show me how you're doing your books. You're like, what are you talking about? And I'm like your books.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I need to see, let me see your clientele. Let me see what you're bringing in. Let me see how you're organizing your schedule. And like, I use Google.
Yeah.
Like I got a Google Maps thing or Google calendar.
Yep.
So I said, okay. So right away we started on that side of things, kind of getting things organized, putting some things in place because you told me right away your goal was you wanted to add 1 to 3 employees this year
Yep.
and scale. We looked at your numbers from the previous year and my projection for you was at least a 3 times. I wanted to up you 3 times. That was it from where you were at. But in doing that, if we replicate it and keep moving it, you can go from, let's say 100,000 to 1 million pretty easy.
Right.
If we can just keep rinse, repeat. It's no different than your detailing. It's the same thing. And then, of course, as you start to get bigger and you start to grow people, marketing's going to play into that and actually reaching market share. So you can add different aspects back into your business, like we talked about mobile and things like that. So, so the organization was an important part. How has that helped you since you started, just from the payment side of things, and then keeping track of your invoicing and kind of the organization on the bookkeeping side of it, so to speak?
Yeah. So organization was for sure my downfall. You came in, kind of realized that really fast, and so it's helped a ton. We got a few systems set up, so I had payments coming in from tons of different ways, like PayPal, Venmo, cash, anything. So that was really hard to keep track of. Kind of made a mess when trying to get the numbers down and the books down. So you came in, we got it dialed down to either taking payment by Square, so payment links and using just that app, or cash. So we have it down to those 2 avenues. It's really easy to track, easy to see what I'm selling and what I'm making, profit wise and expenses. And so we got all that stuff in QuickBooks too. You had me doing that. So really just organized it down to one stream, and it's helped a ton. Kind of takes my mind off of things, because when you have all the numbers coming at you, it's kind of a mess in your head too. So cleaned up some stuff in my head to where I have time to think about more of the work and the office stuff at the same time too. So that's been huge.
When did you start to delegate the tasks for the actual work to these guys that you're hiring, these qualified people? Then you can actually spend a little bit more time focusing on what you're wanting to perfect on the other side of it, the business side of it, so that you can work on the business instead of working in the business, because that's really important. It's really hard to work on it when you're in it every day. It's almost impossible, to be honest with you.
And that's what my concern was. I was like, I need to take a risk. It has to be a calculated risk, but you have to take the risk and make the jump to like higher. You're never going to feel safe about it. You're never going to feel 100% about it, but you have to make that jump. And so I did that, and I feel 10 times better now knowing I can give him the work and I can help him work too, but I also have that time to free up some things.
So what's some of the stuff? Oh, go
Yeah,
ahead.
no, a big thing for us though too is like when we go in and try to help people and stuff, some of the biggest things you can do is just keep it simple.
Yep.
Don't make it too complicated, because it just gets to where it just creates a bigger mess.
It's easy to overcomplicate
Yes,
things.
absolutely.
Because they're not as complicated as we think they are in their infancy, especially. In their infancy, they're just ABC.
Yep.
You do ABC over and over and over again, and then you start to add in the other ones. You know what I mean? But if you start with the basics and you really get those dialed in, then adding stuff to it on top of that and expanding and adding services in, adding people in, adding systems in. With you just being you and one other guy now, systems-wise, it doesn't require a lot to run. I mean, 3 different apps for the most part can run about everything that you do. It's just keeping track of things, keeping track of your schedule, keeping track of inventory, keeping track of the income coming in, and then obviously making sure taxes and all these other things are paid for properly, and that you're allocating funds back into your business that need to go back in your business, and you're not overspending and some of those things. So inventory was another big thing. I looked at all that organization that was out there, and the last time we spoke, I said, I need an inventory of everything that's out here. I need to know how much of this product you have, how much of this product you use, all the way down to these towels that you have over here that I know you probably buy from O'Reilly's for huge packs for whatever amount of money. They're great, but I still need to know what you have in those, because we can take every bit of that and put it into what you're charging for a job, and I can tell you exactly what you're making off that job.
Right.
We can go all the way down, all your hours, man hours, everything, and I can tell you what your profit margins are going to be.
And knowing that's very, very important, because it's like if you're scheduling way more of one job where you're not making as much profit, then you need to change that up. And so it kind of gives you a point of view of like, okay, this is what's making me the most money. I can give a little more focus there and schedule a lot more of that, and it ends up benefiting us way more. So
Right.
seeing little things like that is huge.
We were even looking at like what the cost of an employee is for the jobs they were working on
Right.
versus if you yourself did, because what you cost per hour versus what he costs per hour are vastly different.
Right.
And so if your time can be better, served over here because it's either quicker, or if you looked at it hour by hour, you could turn out more work and for more profit over here and take him for what he costs to do this job versus what you make off it. I mean, we can really hone in your income, your revenue very, very easily, but you have to know all those numbers. That's why they're so important. I think some people think it's just nonsense. You're trying to micromanage all the little pieces, but once you figure it all out, it's easy to then the next time you bring something in or buy it, it just goes right into your system with all the other things. It's just
easier.
It's easy.
I used to think like that. There's like I don't need to know all the little things. Like I can just have it in my head, but you can't.
And you can
can't
tell
keep up
too,
with it.
the further you get into the business, if you don't have some of these things in place, you're getting deeper and deeper and deeper to where it takes so much time to get out of that hole. Whereas if you put it in place from the beginning, you've got it locked down. It's a lot faster. It's more efficient. And when you and your partner are picking what jobs are best for you, you guys are both playing on each other's strengths. And so that was huge when we were talking about that also.
Yeah, got to get that base set to work off of, because if you have stilts down there that aren't balanced, then it's all going to crash. You
It
can't
is.
keep up with it.
Right.
And having all that in place, the other thing that's really important is you can see something coming long before it comes. Because if you're looking at trends and you see something going on, you're like, hey, we've got an issue over here. Either I'm not charging enough for the service, I'm not trying to get enough of this service from people, I'm putting too much into this one over here, my profit margin's less, so then my overall income's going down. But you can see that coming from a mile away if you're tracking it as you go.
Yep.
If you're not tracking it, you get caught with your pants around your ankles. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And all of a sudden you're going, what happened? Then you backtrack and go, oh, this happened. I wish I'd have known that a month ago. I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, there's a lot more surprises when you're not keeping track of stuff.
Yeah.
For
The
sure.
bigger you get, the more surprises
Yes.
you're going to be.
Yeah, no
So it's not a problem to grow. Actually, you're like kind of a dream case to start with, because it's so to speak, you can't build a house from the roof down. You got to build it from the
Right.
foundation
Yeah.
up. Well, that's where you're at. Sometimes when we deal with people in businesses, they've got the whole house constructed and they're adding on to it, and half it, there's all this mess to clean up before you can start fixing things and putting new things in place. With you, it's building from the floor up. You already had a great foundation. So now we're just constructing the walls and putting everything together, and so it's working out very well. And to your to give you a little bit of a pat on the back, the way that you think for your age, you are going to steamroll everybody in your sector.
Yeah.
Just because you've already got the mindset that they won't figure out till they're 40 years old. They're making some money right now. They're partying. They're having a good time. They got some girlfriends. You have a girlfriend.
Yep.
She understands the business real well. How supportive is she within the business?
Super, yeah. So she's a huge help, and that's I wasn't super into having girlfriends and all that stuff. Like I know a lot of people at my age, boys and girls, like don't really want to focus on building their future and all that stuff. They just want to have fun right now. But she's just the perfect case for me. So she helps me keep track of everything and make sure I'm doing the right things and get my work done and everything. And she understands the business, that I have to focus on these things during the week and put the work in. And it's going to be like that because I'm building that future to support both me and her. So it's been a huge help. She just kind of holds me up and makes sure she's doing the right things too. So.
And what about your parents?
My parents have been
Yeah.
super supportive. So they were super open parents growing up. I made a lot of mistakes, and they still loved me and still were there for me through all the dumb stuff I did. So they've been super helpful. My dad was always an entrepreneur, so he was in the construction business his whole life. Since he was 15, he owned his own businesses. So
Oh, wow.
he always encouraged me to do the same. So whenever I was kind of dropping out of college, I didn't know what I wanted to do, and he's like, just start your own thing. Like, you have experience here in the automotive industry.
Yep.
Kind of use what you have and just
Enjoy
build
it.
off of that. So
You're passionate about it.
yep, and so he kind of pointed me in that direction of like being your own boss is so much better. Like it's a lot more stress and responsibility for sure, but it's worth it.
If you're built correctly, though,
yeah.
like you're the,
Yeah.
everybody's not made for it.
No.
You know, there's a lot of people that think they want it until they get their hands on it and they're like, I can't deal with this. I
Yep.
can't deal with the stress. I can't deal with the structure. I love when people are like, I want to be my own boss so I can set my own hours.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I can go on vacation so I can work when I want to work. When the last time I took a real quality vacation was the day I got a phone call that I got my first contract. And then I became, you know, you've got clients, you've got customers, you have business, then you have employees. So now you have a lot of other people depending on you. So the stress of that, it's not all hunky-dory, but at the end of the day, you get to call the shots. Your success is directly related to the way that you run things and how you want to do them. And so you get to decide how successful you want to be or if you want to fail. It's all on you. So it's the mindset, do I want that? Or do I just want a 9 to 5 or somebody else pays my taxes and somebody else gives me a job?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I have the security because it's the security that people like. But for people who aspire to do something greater in life, it just takes the risk.
Yeah.
You've got to
and-
do it.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. Some people are happy with that, but I could never be. Like, that is my biggest fear is just having a 9 to 5 my whole life and listening to someone tell me what to do when I think it's the wrong thing to do. So
Yeah.
But I think it speaks a lot to your maturity also, because when you were talking about bringing on another person,
Yeah.
you were starting to feel the weight of that, because we could tell when we
sure.
were talking to you. But you made sure that you had the clients coming in and you had the work to be done before you let him pull the trigger and come work for you.
Yep.
So I know that was really important.
yeah,
to you.
the responsibility definitely weighs
Yeah.
on you, and that's part of running a business. Like it's always going to be there. Just the way you manage it and manage things so that it's kind of easier on you and you can actually function.
I mean, you had multiple meetings with them, conversations,
Yep.
expectations. We talked about vision, how it was really important to relay your vision to those people so that they were either on board or they weren't. Some people might hear your vision and go, that's not really what I want to be a part of. Well, I better know that now.
Yeah, or that's crazy. That's too big of a
That's too
vision.
big.
Like,
Yeah.
And if they think that, then they're not in.
That's
they're
correct.
not on your ship. So
Yeah, and that's okay.
That's okay.
There's
Yeah,
nothing wrong with
totally
that.
okay.
I would rather know it now than know it later down the road
Yeah.
when I'm going, hey, this is what I've been trying to build the whole time, and you're like, well, that's not what I signed up for. But maybe I should have told you.
Yeah.
That falls on my shoulders.
Yeah.
I didn't tell you that this was what I was shooting for.
Yep.
I've heard other entrepreneurs, I can't remember who it was the other day I was listening to, and he said he had told somebody he was going to do $1 million a month. And one of the guys in the corner, he rolled his eyes. And he goes, I seen you roll your eyes. He's like, you don't think I can do $1 million a month? He's like, dude, that's crazy. And he's like, out.
Get out. Yeah.
Get out. And he's
Yeah.
like, seriously? He's like, this is somebody that worked for me for a while. He said, we do $1 million a day now. But he couldn't see my vision at $1 million a month.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody on board that doesn't understand that I'm gunning and I need you all with me. We're going to war.
No, really, they have
And
to
I need you to
understand
be
your
here.
vision. Like, it's a
Yeah.
big thing. Is if you don't have people that see that, then they're going to put in the work to just be mediocre. But they have to put in the work to actually reach that level and help you get there. So, yeah, that's a huge thing. They have to have that same drive.
So on that personal and professional side, because professionally we're talking about all the growth, on your personal side, where do you see having basically putting yourself either around people that are like-minded, because at a young age, you probably are surrounded by a lot of people who do not think like you. They would rather go out on the weekends and the evenings and play versus put the work and the time in doing what you're doing. They don't dedicate Sundays and they don't have a faith. They don't have that compass that you have. How important do you think it is putting yourself around like-minded people, and how important do you think it is to have mentors to direct you in those things?
Definitely important. Obviously, everyone's heard the phrase that the 5 people you surround yourself with, you'll be the 6th. So it's really true. You see it more and more as you grow. If you surround yourself with people that are lazy and not going after it, you're just going to be fed up with it. So that's kind of been a thing for me, is like, there's not a lot of people my age doing what I'm doing. So I've noticed a lot of the people I spend my time with outside of work are older. I don't even hang around people that are my age most of the time. I'll send Tyler a text and be like, hey, want to go out to dinner or something? And I'm like, I'm hanging out with a 35-year-old client of mine. So
Yeah.
it's kind of funny doing that stuff, but it's huge who you surround yourself with. It's what you're hearing. Your diet's not just what you eat, it's what you hear and listen to and consume all the time. So
Everything you bring into your body.
yep, that's your
Yep.
diet. So you have to kind of keep a hold on that. But yeah, that's been a huge thing I've realized, and I'm glad I realized it at the age I'm at. So
Yeah, you're way ahead of most people. Like I said, we call that the awakening. And I'll personally tell you, I don't feel like I was awake till I was about 36.
yeah,
I was about 36 before I woke up. You know what I mean? So I wish somebody to kick me in the rear when I was 21 and said, hey, going the wrong way, take a look at this. So it's nice to know there are people out there that are willing to invest in you,
Yep.
to invest time, to see that within you and want to see you grow and want to help you on that journey. It's also nice that you're able to bring that product through what you're developing yourself as. You can then bring that back to everybody else
Exactly.
in a service that you're providing. So if you looked at all the other competition that you have, we'll call it in a 50-mile radius, where do you see yourself compared to them in the next 3 years?
I'm just gonna keep growing. All the other shops, and I'm friends with a lot of the shop owners in St. Louis and all the other detailers. No bad blood for anyone, but I know I have a drive in me that most of them don't. I'm young and hungry and ready to just keep growing, and I'm going to. So I'm sure I'll pass levels that some people haven't seen, and that's what I want to do. I just know I have a lot of advantage for where I'm at and how young I am, and it really does put me ahead of the crowd. So
Yeah. Does it bother you? Is it intimidating?
no,
No?
no.
You ready?
Yeah, I like competition. It's always friendly. Like, I know there's enough business for most of us.
Yeah.
And I also know if someone wants it bad enough, then they'll get it. I mean, the only people you're wiping out by being such a big business is people that don't want it bad enough, and so they shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
It's never scared me, really. I know there's tons of competition, especially in the automotive industry, and a lot of people do take it personal. I've had people take it personal with me all the time, but it's not personal. It's just business is business.
Well, competition just is that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a friendly competition. I love to compete. I have no problem competing. I don't have to do it dirty.
Yeah.
I'll just outshine you.
Yep.
And it just is what it is. The victor will shine in the end. It just is what it is.
Your work will talk. You don't have to like talk about it and fight with people. It's like your work will just do better,
Right.
and that's just all it is.
And it'll prove everything that you could possibly say. I'll just go out and show you.
Yep.
It's the easiest way to do it.
Yep. Work will talk for you.
So, coming up on your first quarter of the year, finishing out huge changes this quarter
Yep.
compared to years past. You started in, was it 2020 or 2021?
2021. Yep.
Was when you started.
Spring, I started doing it on the side of my job. Yep.
So you've, in Q1 of this year, of 24, your growth has been
Yeah.
exponential already.
Yep.
Are you
Been
seeing that in your numbers already?
Yeah. So I was actually looking 2 days ago at my numbers on just pulling up on QuickBooks, and I'm like, wow, it's grown a lot. Last year, obviously, I didn't have the systems in
Metrics.
place to check, but I know for sure I'm doing a lot better this year already.
Well, we talked about
So-
that, though. You were able to go back through your calendar and just count up the
Yep.
jobs. So, I mean, you did have a way to
Yeah.
kind of go back and figure it out because you had to anyway at the end of the year. But with the metrics you have that are like spot on now, what's your trend looking like? Percentage-wise, have you figured that?
I think this quarter I'm already double what our quarters were last year. So
Double already.
yep.
So it does work.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're almost done with quarter one, and it's
Yeah.
it's definitely showing. So
I got
it's been a big help to have a mentor like you. So
Appreciate that.
like you said, just people that have done the same things you've done. Doesn't even need to be in the same industry, but you've done the business things. You've seen the mistakes that you've made and learned from them, and having you be able to tell me, hey, this is gonna happen and this is how you deal with it is huge for me. So you understood that my not having systems in place and being sloppy on the office side of things, like you understood that was gonna bite me in the ass later down the road. So you helped me out ahead of time, make sure I get it right, and so I won't slip up later. So
Yeah.
it's really important to have people around you like that to kind of speak life into you and help you just not make the same mistakes they did.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's what we try to preach just
Yeah.
religiously to everybody is there's a lot of people out there right now that are saying, hey, we can do this for you and we can guarantee you this return. There is really no guarantee on a return. I can tell you what I'm wanting to do, and I can calculate to the best of my ability what I'm pretty sure I can do. I'll never give you the guarantee I can. It's always a risk.
Yeah.
Business is a risk. Taking that's a risk. But the proof is in everybody we've touched along the way that we have shown that we can do this. I've done it myself 3 times. I've done it for, gosh, I couldn't even count how many other people I've done it for in their personal and professional lives. But it brings a lot of enjoyment to us.
Absolutely.
To be able to see some, even like I said, at 21 years old, it's awesome for us to be able to get a hold of somebody that young and be like, "Dude, we can set this guy up now so that by the time he's our age, he'll be vastly ahead of us where
and it
we
would
are
be
now."
like, I mean, could you, because we have said to ourselves too, could you imagine if somebody would have told us this at 21 where you
Yeah,
could be.
you-
I
yeah.
mean, it's amazing. It really
Yeah.
is. I mean, all that life experience.
And there's so much
stuff.
more to know.
And there's so much too that like with the paperwork and just different things Bobby sent you, it's like it's hard to know where to start.
Yeah,
sometimes.
seriously, yep.
I mean,
And-
even with hiring an employee,
Yeah.
where do I start? What do I need to do? What paperwork does he need to fill out? I mean, just some of the basic stuff down to how do I need, to help him now with taxes and different things like that. So,
Well, and we specialize in the operations of a business.
Right.
And like we tell people, it doesn't matter if it's a detailing shop or it's a manufacturing
Yeah.
facility. When we talk about keeping things simple, it's because it doesn't matter if it's a $100 million company, or let's be realistic, I don't care if it's a $5 million company, or if I care if it's a $100,000 or $500,000 a year company. The principles are all the same. How we apply those will change depending on what industry we're in and depending on the amount of resources we have available to us, the amount of money, and what we're selling. Like there's so many different variables there, but that's the plug and play part. The principles are all the same, but people don't always understand them. They get lost along the way. They get distracted, or they just don't have the knowledge to begin with.
Right.
They had some luck. They had something handed to them at one point in time, and then they're just trying to do the best with it they can, not only knowing limitedly what they should be doing.
Yeah.
And so having those tools given to you or taught to you by other people, I think is really, really important because it's not complicated. It really
No,
isn't.
It's not. It's just overwhelming, and I think that's where a
Yeah.
lot of people get distracted. Is it's so overwhelming they don't know where to start, and so they just won't start.
Yeah.
And it's like that's the problem. If you just show me where the starting line is, I can do the work.
Yeah.
I just don't know where to start, and so that's really where the value is in a mentor. Is like that's a huge part of it. So.
and the bigger you get, the more processes there are, the more paperwork
yeah.
there is. So, I mean, as long as you're keeping all that filed away or put
Mm-hmm.
in the appropriate spot, the easier it'll be with, to deal with later.
And you probably don't realize it, but I will tell you there's things that I've learned from you as well as an individual. So I usually pick something up from everybody I work with.
Yeah.
That's something that I also get in return is I get all these things in business and I get these personal attributes that people have that I will be like, I really admire that. And something that I've really admired about you is your faith base at your age and how calm, collective, and sure-footed you are in the decisions that you're making. And the humility that you have when you don't understand it or don't know that you want that help.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to pick up recently is just making decisions quickly because you will learn way more if you just make them and you fail. The day-to-day stuff, obviously, you got to make.
You
some
said you calculate
risks.
it.
Yeah,
Everything's a calculated risk.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
But you have to take those risks and make them fast. So
Yeah.
that's something in business. If you just dwell on it, and you'll end up not making it, and
Yeah.
it will pay in the long run. So
And then what if just chases you around all the time?
Yep.
Man, what if I would have done that?
Yep.
What would it have become?
it's the biggest regret for everyone is what ifs. So.
Yeah, what if? So we don't want that. That's not what we're here for. But so once more, tell everybody where your shop's at, and why don't you give them just a quick overview of the services that you provide,
Yep.
and what you do and where you're located.
Okay, so yeah, we are located Zitting Detailing off Highway 94 and O'Fallon Road. Address is 49 Jason Court. That's in St. Charles, Mo. So we do paint corrections, so buffing and polishing side of things, taking scratches out of cars, taking swirls out of cars, any oxidation. We do ceramic coating, so that basically protects the car, gets a perfect glossy finish and protects it from any of those swirls coming back, any etching. And then obviously general detailing. So interior, exterior details, we do all the full service stuff. So yeah, that's basically what we do now. Those three main things. We stay really busy with those. So really pound on those three things, and we're looking to expand obviously to more services in the future as we grow. I'm sure we'll get into a lot of things people want. So
We've talked about boats. We've talked
Yeah,
about the mobile
there's a
service,
lot more.
pickup and delivery, all different kinds of things that you're already kind of doing some of.
Yep.
So that's been really the convenience for people has been great.
yeah, and
they're
that's
loving that.
we try to really hone in on that is the convenience. Obviously, that's what people want. With COVID, people were just in home and everything was convenient for them. So especially now, it's they want that convenience even more. So
Yep.
we do free pickup and delivery in St. Louis. We'll go pick up people's cars, go detail it, bring it back, and they just sit inside and work the whole time. So
Yeah.
we really just focus on what the customer needs, cater it to them, and get it done perfectly for them so they're happy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, man, we really appreciate you having you on. It's been
Yeah,
a pleasure
appreciate you
working
having
with you in Q1.
It's been
Hope
awesome.
to continue working with you and see you grow through everything that you're doing. Because I have some really good ideas, and she does too. And I can already see where you're gonna go. Like I can see it, plain as day.
Yep.
If you just keep pushing and doing what you're doing right now, you'll be a staple in the industry in 3 years tops. So I think we've already talked and had some conversations where that could be a realistic, quicker than we realize.
Yep.
So excited to do more with you, man, and see what you do.
Yeah, I'm excited. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, thank you for coming. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.